Greetings to you from wherever you're watching us. Thanks for joining us on the Friday edition of the show. It's the last one for the week, and it promises to be exciting. From Lagos, I'm Yemi Adebayo. There's a lot lined up for you tonight on the show as we get into all of it. Okay, so there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot lined up for you on the show as I wait my co-presenter Austin to join in. So before I go any further, let me allow Austin join in as we prepare for the show tonight.
I mean, good to be on the show. Sporty greetings to all our viewers from different parts of the world. Still an action-packed world of sports, so much going down, and we'll try to talk about it tonight on the program. In the English Premier League, right here in England, we're looking forward to that fixture between Liverpool and, of course, Manchester United. It's got a lot of people talking, but for me, I just can't wait for the game to be played. And there's also the El Clasico. What a story we have on our hands this weekend. We'll talk about it also. But the one that we have always wanted to talk about, these plans for a biennial World Cup by FIFA. We always wanted to know what's in it in this one for Africa. And we've got our son, Emmanuel Amunike, part of that consultative forum. And we will try to have him on the show tonight. I told the viewers last night that he will be with us tonight just to commit the legend. So hopefully Emmanuel Amunike will join us. We'll talk about the plans of FIFA to have the World Cup every 2 years. I mean, this is a burning issue in Europe. UEFA, they are fiercely kicking against it. But let's see what will happen at the end of the day.
All right, it's going to be interesting when we have that chat. A lot of people have been saying, all the ex-players have said good things about the plans for the biennial World Cup. So I don't expect the Nigerian legend to say anything different. But I'm very sure it's going to give us insights into the plans of the people who are in FIFA for that biennial World Cup. On the show tonight, we will also talk about what will be a loaded weekend for Nigeria, talking about sports. Super Falcons will be in action. Three club sides will be in action in CAF club competitions. We'll talk about all of that for you as well. And we will also talk about the Premier League and possibly give you a slice of cycling on the show tonight. So that's the outlook of the show. Let me quickly introduce our partner in the Lagos studio, Ikena Okechukwendu. He joins us tonight. Ikena, greetings to you. Thanks for finding out time to be here with us tonight.
What a loaded weekend is going to be. So we are here to discuss it all.
All right, so that's it. Austin, let's just quickly start off with something we talked about a few days ago. It's has to do with cycling. Let's quickly bring the information to the viewers about, the athletes representing Team Nigeria at that event. And there you have it. It's right there on your screen at the World Track Cycling Championship. Let's give you the list of Team Nigeria representatives. You have their names will come up on the screen. Ese Ukpeseraye, the team captain, Grace Ayuba, Mary Samuel, Tawakalt, Yakin, all of them representing Nigeria. And of course, the team captain will compete tomorrow in the 500 sprint time trial and individual pursuits. A few days ago, we had the president of the federation here live on the show. And talking about Nigeria, how we're making giant strides. And hopefully, Austin, these guys will do us proud right there in France.
For me, Yemi, it's all about the development of cycling in Nigeria, and this is one way you can measure your success. It's not about going there to win. The president reiterated this fact when we spoke with him that, look, there are countries who have done so much for their cycling competing at the World Championship, but this is good that we've got representatives right there in Uber in France competing at the 111. Tells you that this is a prestigious cycling competition. 111th edition, 4 female representatives representing Nigeria. I love the fact that this would give them good exposure, experience in the bag. SA will be competing tomorrow, and hopefully she will, give Nigeria a good representation. But the fact that we're talking about this is some level of progress. And at the championship, there seems to be some love for Team Nigeria. They love the kids of the team. They also love the fact that the girls are coming out to, to represent the country. So it's a good one. Nobody should be quick to say, "Oh, what are they there to win? Or are they just competing?" In fact, that was the question I asked the president. Said just competing alone is a good success story, and I'm sure he can will to an extent agree with me.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Quite all right. I think it will help them develop. It will help us develop the sports and put more interest in the sport. But one thing I believe that I don't think we've harnessed the potential in this sports, because I said it on this program. I come from Ngwa, and we all ride bicycles in Ngwa, in Abia State. Everyone ride bicycles. So it's a means of it's a means of transportation. Mm-hmm. So if we can get, just like we are doing with swimming in rivers and Bayelsa, if we can channel our distance over there, we can be able to get
world beaters in the sport.
Believe me, I think so.
All right.
If you can go and do your research, every family is imperative that you must have a bicycle.
To move around.
To move around. You have your car, but bicycle is very, very imperative in every bicycle. But this is heartwarming. It's great. At least let them go there and participate. Mm-hmm. So maybe in the nearest future we might get somebody that is in Tour de France. We might get somebody who is a world beater. But it starts from this step. So it's a great one. It's a good one. I'm very, very excited about their participation.
All right. Okay. So Austin, over to you.
Okay, let's get on with the focus of the day. We want to take a look at this plan by FIFA to organize the World Cup in every 2 years. It's a burning issue, as I said earlier. UEFA, they are fiercely opposed to this plan, but FIFA believes that it will do a lot of good for football development. One of the points FIFA raised is that it will create some level of equality among member nations. But there's this question going around town: that is it all about the money? Super Eagles legend Emmanuel Amunike is in Santander in Spain. He is a member of the FIFA Technical Study Group. He joins us now on the program as we take a look at these plans by FIFA to host the World Cup every 2 years. Emmanuel Amunike, good to have you on the show with us.
Thank you very much, Austin. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening from London. Good to have you, Kochi. Kochi, thank you so much. Whenever we call on you, you always answer. We appreciate you. And we just want to let you know that we're super proud with the way you're representing Nigeria with international football. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Awesome. Let's get into the conversation. Coach Emmanuel Amunike, this plan to have the FIFA World Cup every 2 years, is it all about the money?
Well, this issue you said, has been raised a lot of time. People were looking at the direction of the money. I think when I talk about the game in question, I'm always interested in African continent. The Europeans, they have been able, to set a standard. And when you look at the league today, all the players from South America, from Africa, from Asia, they all want to play in Europe. Because the Europeans, they were able to, to organize the league. They were able to organize the Champions League. And I think I could see that fear in them, a little bit scared, not to losing that grip of the dominance that they have. But of course, Austin, one thing in life is that when there is change, people are scared of change. Because people are not, sure what it might be. People are not sure the outcome of it. But also, the changes that are coming into the game, that is what will make us to grow. During the time when we played, I personally was privileged to play the first, only one World Cup. The second World Cup, unfortunately for me, I was injured, 98 France. But what we are saying today is that most of the players are more equipped. Most of the players are more prepared. Of course, we are concerned in terms of the rest of the players, because no matter how you discuss about this World Cup being played every 2 years, you have to consider the major actors and the players. So what FIFA is basically doing now, is consulting. And there is nothing wrong in consulting, trying to get opinion of everybody, try to get opinion of the players, try to get opinion of the players, try to get opinion of the fans, because you have to take the fans along also. But without the fans, the World Cup looks nothing. So FIFA is doing everything possible in terms of having a clear picture and having ideas. But of course, for me, when you talk about the World Cup, I think it's possible playing World Cup every 2 years. But the only thing we Africans, we have to ask ourselves is that, what is our gain in this possibility of playing the World Cup in every 2 years? What are we going to make out of it? And I think it's a very big opportunity to African continent. Sometimes we look at things from money aspect. When we have a World Cup every 2 years, that means we have to be on continuous development of our players. We have to find an avenue to make sure that we have a standard infrastructures where our players can fit in. So we can all take advantage of this. But of course, like I said, it's a proposal that was done by Arsene Wenger.
Yeah. And anything Monsieur Wenger is involved in, everybody believes that it's just about the money. But let's stay with Africa. That's our constituency. And I love what you just said about, in fact, the Confederation of African Football, they have said it will accelerate development. But Coach Amunike, let's look at it like this. Won't it backfire? We're struggling with infrastructure. We're struggling with a lot of developmental aspects of our football. And now the World Cup in every 2 years.
Well, I think if we are serious, on a serious note, I don't think it will backfire. It will even enhance our commitment to continue to develop. We enhance our commitment to continue to, improve. And for me also, there's one thing as Wenger, when you look at the program, in the program, there has been always a conflict between the national team and the club. So in the program, what actually happened is we are looking at a way where the windows can be, that is the FIFA window can be reduced into 1 or 2. So where everybody, it will be a win-win thing for everybody, both for the club and the players. And where the players in question, we have a mandatory rest after the World Cup or after every activities they involve in. You look at the South Americans and the Africans and the Asians. I think the World Cup sometimes, the Europeans, they are in the comfort zone because most of the distance they are doing is not what the South Americans are doing or the Africans. Most of these players, they do a lot of kilometers in terms of traveling. And after traveling, playing, and then the next day they have to travel again back to their club, and then they continue to play. So FIFA is looking all the avenue where everybody will be fitting, where everybody can have a common ground, where everybody can have a space. And I think if we Africans, if we are serious in terms of depending on our mindset, depending on our commitment, are we looking at this possibility from money aspect, or are we looking at it, how we can use it to develop our game in Africa, not only in Nigeria, all over Africa? We, a lot of players, we, a lot of countries might also have the ambition of playing in the World Cup. For example, George Weah was one of the greatest players that came out of Africa, but he never had the opportunity of playing in the World Cup. So I think when we look at the factors that governs this thing, we Africans cannot take ourselves to European level. The Europeans already, they have set a pace and everybody wants to emulate them. But the question is, what we Africa, what can we do to develop our game? What can we do to develop our players? What can we do to create a more solid infrastructure that will enable our players to be in a position, to compete with the rest of the world?
Lagos. Once again, I'll say thank you for finding time to be with us on the show. My question to you, Coach, is, and I know you can speak to this as a ex-footballer, and also we're all football fans. Because the World Cup is in every 4 years, just like the Olympics, it feels special. And a lot of people have said, if you make it 2 years, you're going to water it down. You're going to water the quality. There's also the talk about 48 teams will be at the World Cup. And when you look at all of this from a fan's perspective, a lover of the game, do you think the World Cup will still have that special feel if we're not going to be doing it every 2 years? I get the part about development if it works, but is it going to still feel special like the Olympics?
Yeah, it's going to be special. Every player's dream is to play in the World Cup. And I can guarantee you that every player will love to play, even if it takes 5 or 6 times to play in the World Cup. Because this is where define who you are. This is where you make a statement for yourself that you're a top player. So I don't think it's going to devalue the value of the World Cup. But like I said earlier, what we can do is to embrace the opportunity. If eventually the World Cup in question is going to be held every 2 years, then it requires a lot of responsibilities from our own part as an African, from our own federation, from our own players, from our own fans also. Because it's not just going to the World Cup and then making up the numbers. We would love to see African teams, going to the World Cup and making a statement. Even winning the World Cup, what stops us from winning the World Cup? We have a lot of great players, from Africa doing very well in the European League. So if we can also, create an avenue where we can develop the ones playing in Africa and then bring up the standard where if the professional comes on board, it won't look ordinary to the ones playing in Africa. But I think nothing takes away the value. It's just a question of, people are scared. Of course, when a lot of people are having doubt. I give you a typical example. I remember when the VAR came on board in the last World Cup in Russia, a lot of things were said about the VAR. People were saying it's going to, spoil the game. People, a lot of things. But at the end of the day, today, you could see that the VAR in question has changed the dynamic of the game. The VAR in question has created a lot of awareness. Even the players in question, they are aware now that there are some certain things that you cannot do and get away. They are aware of that. So everybody now is cautious. And with that, it has helped the game to rise to a different level. So I think changes, of course, bring down. But, changes also already will take us to the next level where we need to be.
All right. Let me throw this in before I go back to before we go back to Austin. Why does it seem to me and to everybody that most of the ex-internationals, I don't know whatever Monsieur Wenger said to all of you, you all like the idea. Everyone we have listened to, all the ex-footballers like the idea. So I'm interested. It's intriguing. I would like to know what he said that made all of you buy into the idea.
Well, it's not that what he said to us. I think, when the issue was raised at first, a lot of people were not in support of it. There was doubt. A lot of questions were raised. And then when we listen to him with facts, it's not just listening to him by just merely talking. We listen to him with facts. And then you begin to think about it. You begin to see reason in it. You begin to see there's been a lot of conflict, like I said earlier. And Arsene Wenger has been a club coach. And I think he's in a position, he knows what it is during, for example, during January, during his coaching time, a lot of his players from Arsenal, they all have to go back to Africa to play. So he is in a position trying to find balance between the club and the players and the national team, and also finding a means for the rest of the players. Most of these players, when you look at the statistics he gave, most of these players, mostly from South American and African and Asians, they do a lot of distance. So at the end of the day, you also need to consider the importance and the rest of the players. And that is exactly, what Arsene Wenger is trying to come up with. But I think it's not that we are just, supporting because it's Arsene Wenger. No, he came up with a fact and everybody, look at it and everybody studied it. And then people begin to believe in what he's saying. But like I said earlier, we still need to hear everybody's opinion. Like what they are doing now, consulting, what FIFA is doing. And I think FIFA is taking the right direction. They're taking the right step, consulting everybody, making sure that, they get opinions of everybody. And that's the right way to go.
In December, the FIFA Council will meet to still discuss this issue. I'm in London, and the media is saying that the process is flawed and it might fail. You are inside, you're part of that consultative team. Is it going to be a success?
We hope so. We hope so. In a world of democracy, everybody's opinion is You don't you don't say you don't say because you are a leader, then the decision lies. No, you have to listen to everybody. You have to consult everybody, and then you have to find what is possible and what is not possible. We hope so. So because me, I personally, I would have loved to play more work. I would have loved, and I think when you ask these players, current players of today, they will love it because they know, World Cup. But the only thing is that people are scared because of time frame. That is what people are looking at because of other activities. But of course, there is nothing that cannot be fixed. There is nothing that cannot be agreed. I'm even interested when Arsene Wenger, was revealing to us the plans for the players, the numbers of traveling they have done, the numbers of kilometers the players travel from club to national team, and then the numbers of time that need to be reduced, more quality games, less traveling time. So all these things, when you look at it, then you have to say, okay, we are fans, of course. We are major fans. We are happy. We want to see beautiful World Cup. But of course, the major actors, which are the players, you also need to think about their rest. You need to think about their health. You need to think about their own life also. But I think after the whole consultation and after the whole things, I think hopefully, people can see reasons in this, and so that we can move from one step to another level. Football, not only football, the world is changing. For example, the coronavirus that came, nobody expected it. At the end of the day, it was very tough initially. It was very tough for everybody. But as you and I know now, people have adapted to it. People are living with it. People are trying to do the best out of it. So I think changes, brings a lot of doubt, brings a lot of uncertainty. People are scared. People are comfortable in their zone. People are used to, of course, thinking every 4 years there will be World Cup. But now you are hearing maybe every 2 years there will be World Cup. Of course, there will be people scared. But the important thing is that, like I said earlier, like the way FIFA is doing about it, they are consulting everybody. Nobody is left behind. So they are making sure to get opinions of everybody before decisions can be taken. And I think that's the right way and right direction to go about it.
I think so too. Totally. Change is inevitable, and I love the example you gave with the video assistant referee. I was at the World Cup in 2018 when he was tested. Pierluigi Collina was telling us, didn't we say that people will question it? But now, hate it or love it, the VAR is here to stay. So we will just monitor to see what will come out of the FIFA Congress in December. Let's bring the conversation back to Nigeria. Let's come back home and talk about the Super Eagles. They're getting ready for the 2022 FIFA World Cup through the qualifiers. What you've seen, what do you think?
Well, I think it's a good one. Fortunately, the last two games, mostly the one we played at home against Central Africa, we lost that one. But I think we have a good team. We have a good team. We have young players that are coming on board. We have talented players. And I think we have a very good team. But, what we need to change in our approach is we are Nigerians. We all totally agree. But we also must be aware that the game in question has changed a lot. People maybe in the 90s used to be 3-0. It's not possible to beat them like that because most of their players also, they have the privilege now to play in the league that is competitive. So I think our players, they are doing very great. But I think probably we are missing this, how will I say this, in Nigerian spirit. When the game comes on board, I think we're missing that. But I think we have a very good team. They have to try as much as they can to maintain the consistency. Whatever the consistency they maintain in qualification, that will boost them towards to the final qualification. Now, it's not important much. The important game is the last game to qualify to the World Cup. And actually, you don't know whom you're going to meet. But the important thing is you have to transmit confidence. But I'm I'm happy seeing them. I have watched their game, and I wish them all the best, and I hope, they can be able to win one of the tickets. The
Yeah,
World Cup.
I wish them all the best too. But Coach Manu Amunike, I was itching when you said this is a good team about 5 times. And I'm wondering if this is a good team, couldn't they have beaten Central African Republic in Lagos during your time? Is that acceptable?
Well, Austin, you can be a good team in terms of your individual quality. You can be a very good team individually. But you and I know today that individual football has gone. It all depends on the level of the players in terms of understanding the game, their capacity to interpret the game when they have the ball, when they don't have the ball. I think this is the key important moment in football. When you have the ball, what are you doing with the ball? When you don't have the ball, how are you guys defending? How are you coming back as quick as possible? How are you trying to slow the man, the opponent that has the ball? So all these things has to be, worked at. It's not just, there is no doubt we have good players, Austin. There is no doubt. But for example, what I'm saying is that, when we come back to the national team in Nigeria, we have to do away with the style, maybe in our club. We have to remember this is a national team. A lot of people are looking onto us. Millions of Nigerians want us to win because Nigerians are so passionate when it comes to the game. Nigerians are crazy when it comes to the game. I think the least we can do for Nigerians is putting hard work, fighting, trying to win our game, and putting smile in their face. And I have always believed that as a player, and even as a coach, I still believe in that. You cannot achieve anything without working hard. You cannot achieve anything. Nobody is going to dash you anything on the field of play. So it all depends on the plans that you're coming up with as a team, from individual point of view to collective point of view.
Before Austin gets it back, you talked about this team. You said they are good players. Well, some people might disagree, but if you had the chance to speak with the handlers of the team, what are the areas you would say you need to improve here? You have a great squad. You need to improve here. You need to improve in this area. You need to improve in this area. What are those areas? If you get a chance to speak to the players, what are some of the things you will tell them as somebody who has done what they are trying to do?
Well, I will always be on the positive side in terms of, first of all, you have to motivate them. You have to give them confidence. But at the same time, also, you have to let them realize that there is possibility of improving. There is room to grow more. I give you a typical example. When I went to Tanzania, nobody ever expected us going to qualify, even the players in question. But I had a discussion with them, and I told them one thing. I said we are going to qualify. It's possible we are going to qualify, but we cannot qualify just merely because we are playing at home or we are Tanzania. We have to qualify by working hard. We have to qualify by correcting our mistakes. We have to qualify by looking at the side that we have done good and the side that we have done bad and try to improve. So I think the players in question in Nigeria, like I said, there is no doubt about their quality in terms of individually. But I think what we need to look at is how can we play more collectively, offensive and defensive wise? How can we be more purposeful when we have the ball and when we don't have the ball? I think these are the basic things in modern football now, and it really helps you to grow as a player. These are the areas you have to test and discuss with the player. But of course, I'm not the coach, and it will not be wise from me to tell the coach what they are going to do. He has his plan. He knows the players. He lives with the players, and I think that space has to be given to him. That respect has to be given to him. But I believe that these players, they can do something with this team.
Coach, that's a good one. But let's talk about the coaching crew one more time. I've spoken to some of your former colleagues, and they have mixed feelings about this coaching crew. I know you will be very sincere with me. What you've seen from a coaching perspective, are you comfortable with the coaching crew led by Gernot Rohr?
Well, I'm comfortable with him in times. I have to be honest to you. I'm also a coach, so I don't like criticizing coaches. Also, I have my bad day and also my good day. So, but I think the coach is doing his best. But like I said earlier, it's also up to the responsibility of the players at times, to come up and realize what they have in front of them. Well, I always wish the coach, since he came, I have always been supportive of him, regardless of where he's coming from or where he's not coming from. He has done his best. He has tried. Of course, I also believe that there is always improvement. So, talking about the coach or not talking about the coach, all I can say is I wish him all the best, Austin. For me, professionally, it's not a good ethics to start talking about a national team coach. It's not easy for him. His job is like being a president, where you have to please everybody. But of course, I believe he has the capacity to do what is good for our national team. We have to support him. He's on board now. If he succeeds, we all succeeded. And if he also fail, we all fail. So the important thing is, we pray that these players also, that they can heed to his advice and then be able to achieve the best for their career and also the country.
I can see you put on your coaching hats to answer that one. Thank you so much, Emmanuel Amunike, for your time. It's always a delight to speak to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Austin. Thank you very much.
All right, so that's it. Former Super Eagles player, African football legend, Emmanuel Amunike, speaking to us about this plan by FIFA to have the World Cup in every 2 years. He is in full support of it, and he has explained why he supports it, and he believes it is what is good. It will be good for African football, and also talk about the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Let's go back to Lagos. Ikena, you listen to Coach Emmanuel Amunike, 2 years World Cup proposal. Are you also in support?
Well, from the interview, what I picked out was we are all afraid of change. We are all skeptical about change. So, but I believe that I need to ask this question. Is Infantino sincere about his plans for the World Cup? Is he sincere about his plans to develop the game for Africa? He was against the Super League in Europe, but in Africa, he wants to have a Super League. So what are his plans? What is going to happen to our Nations Cup? What is going to happen to our CAF Champions League? A Nations Cup is played every 2 years. He wanted our Nations Cup to be moved to 4 years. So why is he bringing a World Cup for every 2 years? There is European Championship. There is the UEFA Nations League. There are other competitions. There is the Olympics also, a big event everybody prepares to. There is the Copa America. There is the CONCACAF Cup, Gold Cup. What are his plans? We want him to, in details, tell us how they are going to do this 2-year plan. I know they are going to do that this in the Congress they are going to have. Wenger that is champion this was opposed. In fact, Wenger didn't want national team football anymore because of players traveling. But now he's championing this idea. So we want them to come out to tell us in details what are the plans. What does Africa stand to benefit? What I don't like is how CAF is dancing to everything FIFA says. What I don't like is how FIFA has been able to puppet CAF. They are somewhere in Zurich, pulling the strings. What are the plans they have for Africa? It's not about giving an African country money to develop one little stadium in somewhere in Moravia or wherever. What are the plans to develop our game in total? So those are the things I'm skeptical about. The sincerity of heart. I think why every FIFA president always comes to Africa and start dancing and smiling with us is always because we have the numbers, 53 nations always backing that presidency. But can we all sit back, come back to Cairo and discuss amongst ourselves, how does this benefit us? That's a simple question.
All right, a lot to take. A lot to take. I was nodding all through, listening to Ikin. So many questions, and all of this will test the resolve of FIFA and the sincerity as well. What is the intention? What do we hope to gain? I do not doubt that this idea will have its merits, but like we say, this idea will be tested, and I will be surprised if there's a unanimous consent in December. I would be really surprised. To me, it looks like UEFA and FIFA are spoiling for war. All right, I guess we can leave it at that for now. Austin, let's move on the show with... we're pressed for time, and at some point, I hope Alfredo Koligwe will be able to join us as we continue with all of this discussion. So let's just quickly move to CAF club competitions. 3 Nigerian teams left. The other time Alfred was with us, I asked him how many teams will be left. Maybe we'll be able to answer that question today. But let's quickly show to you what's going to happen over the weekend on Saturday and on Sunday. Let's start with the CAF Champions League. Ikena, this is where I think we have a serious problem.
Yes.
And some people are already saying it's over. But patriotism will not make me say that.
No, one good advantage is they're going to play in Cairo. They're going to play in Ismaili. They're not going to be in Sudan. So
not going to play in Sudan, okay.
They're going to play in Egypt. So that home advantage has been taken away from Al Hilal. So Rivers United, it's a fresh game. They should go in. I think they have the experience. Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe fine. They didn't get the positive result they wanted last time. But going into this game, it's fresh. They're not. These guys are not playing at home. They're not going to be intimidated by their fans. So it's a fresh game. Go and last season, I think they returned most of their players from last season when they were eliminated by Enyimba. This time is still a fresh game. It's 1-1. Go out there because if you don't win this game, you're out.
Yeah. Okay. So
all right. I think they have an advantage.
Okay.
Yeah.
CAF Confederation Cup quickly. Let's see 2 teams involved in that. Surprise, Bayelsa United. We didn't expect them to do what they did.
Yeah.
But defending a goal advantage against a North African side.
It's going to be tough. It's fast.
A lot of people are not worried about the Enyimba. But so quick one before we go back to Austin. Quick one on these 2.
Well, Enyimba is. I just want to be careful. This can be a slippery slope. But let's see. I think they will get it over the days. And maybe if you the judge, I think he doesn't want to go out at this stage. So
definitely,
I think they'll get that one over the line. But for Bayelsa United, is all good.
It's all good.
It's all good. They've done well for themselves.
Okay, all right. Austin, your take. And it's hard to remove emotions from this stage. So sometimes I'm looking at Bayelsa United. I'm shaking my head. But I mean, it's football, like you always say. It's football. Anything can happen.
That's right. Just when you want to talk about it, it stuns you. I said one thing this morning, and I'll say it again. Bayelsa United, they need to believe in themselves like never. If it was Rivers United that got that result, Bayelsa United got over Vaccine, we'll be having a different analysis. But they drew at home, which is not so good for them going away. But I love the fact that the home advantage is not there for Al Hilal, but a win is a win. And that's what Bayelsa United did against the mighty CS Vaccine. So they need to believe in themselves. I agree it's so tough. But hey, this is football. And they have the advantage going into this second leg fixture. So they need to come together. Don't show this Tunisian side any form of respect. Go out there, play with a lot of objective. Play together as a team. When you have a chance, take it. If you need to pack the bus so well. And at the end of the day, just make sure that you are not losing. And then Bayelsa United will advance.
All right.
Just one quick thing.
Okay.
You always remember that the statistics that all the people that lost in North Africa considered goals in the first 15 minutes. That's simple.
So if you've not considered, you're probably still in it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about something great that's going to happen very soon. A lot of people have been expecting this, and it has happened. Let's talk about Budweiser, the king of beers. What they're doing, they're bringing to Nigeria 2 football icons. They're going to be in the country, and of course, they're going to allow the fans to be in it. And of course, the picture tells the story. John Terry and Roberto Carlos, these two legends, will be in the country, of course, for this promotion by Budweiser. That's what they're going to do. Is the Game of Kings. Is a game of Kings. It's going to involve John Terry and Roberto Carlos. It's a new football-themed campaign tagged Budweiser Game of Kings. It's going to be happening for the first time in Nigeria. And, of course, while they're doing this, MPFL players also will be involved in all of this. And, of course, this is to give millions of football lovers who double as beer lovers a unique experience that will stay with them for a long time. And as you can see, consumers can also participate in all of this. They will have the opportunity to select players, Roberto Carlos on one side, John Terry on one side, and all they need to do is to, they can participate by entering the unique code under their Budweiser Crown Cork on the website, or texting the code to the USD. And so once they're able to do that, they will be able to participate in this. These two guys, John Terry and Roberto Carlos, will be in Nigeria. The two players have a huge fan base in Nigeria. So the ones that are picked will be selected managers, and they also have an opportunity to be sponsored on an all-expense paid trip to watch a live EPL match. These are some of the things that will happen in the Budweiser Game of Kings. All right. So information is on the screen right there. All right. So that's it. Let's go on a quick break right about now. When we return from that break, we have a few minutes left. Of course, we'll bring Alfred into it when we return from this break. All right, welcome back. All right, let me bring Alfred Okoligwe into it. He came late into the party, but no problem. He's with us. Greetings to you, Alfred. Thanks for joining us on the show. A lot has been said. I don't know where you want to start from. You've heard quite a number of things, and so the floor is yours.
A very good evening to you, Yemi. Of course, to Austin, and of course, my very good friend in the studio. Let me start from the World Cup debate. It's been on now. FIFA has been very consistent in saying that the World Cup will happen every 2 years, and I mean they've had the buy-in of 3 of the 5 constitutions. 3 have supported. Africa has supported, Asia, and of course the North Americans, and of course the ones we call the ones in and around the US and the rest of them. Everybody wants to be at the World Cup. I mean, the 4-year cycle of the World Cup, yes, people want to say, yes, to leave the marketability of the World Cup. But hey, the World Cup is something that is huge that we are so impatient to, want to be at the World Cup as much as possible. I don't like the argument of making it look as if it is CAF, wanting to support everything that FIFA have said. All of the points put on the table, as far as I'm concerned, are valid. The only people that have come out vehemently to stand against that proposal is Europe. And you know why? They have their European Championship, they have their Champions League and the rest of them. They just want to protect themselves from any of the influence that the World Cup will get. So I think they are just saying that in democracy, majority will always have their way. Minority might have their say. The majority will have their way. Let it not seem as if it is just one continent that wants to dictate for the rest. That wants to dictate for the rest of us. If Europe, North America, and Asia says that's the way to go, and they have the numbers. I mean, if you put the numbers on the table, only CAF has over 50 votes. So when you put the numbers on the table, I mean, if the majority says that's the direction to go, I think that's just the way to go. If we want to go by the tenets of democracy and the rest of them, I think that's the way to go.
All right. We're pressed for time, but let's do this way. This is how we're going to end this on the show tonight. Before I hand it over to Austin, we're going to show to you fixtures for this weekend. And Alfred, once you see the fixtures for the English Premier League, just go straight and talk about one or two games in less than a minute if you can. We'll come to Ikena as well. So let's quickly go to the English Premier League as we prepare to wrap things up on the show. Of course, the biggest fixture is the one a lot of people have been talking about. As a matter of fact, this is a live game currently going on. The game in the dying moments. Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. It looks like they're going away with this one against Aston Villa 3-1. That is what it is right now. Emile Smith-Rowe, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and Thomas Partey scoring. So, Alfred, quickly, in less than a minute, this fixtures, say something about it.
For the new Babalos in town for Newcastle, I think they've asked the manager to leave. Their game against Crystal Palace was a way to start the new era of ownership in the EPL. Crystal Palace almost got a win, valuable win at Emirates. It didn't happen. So I think they will fancy their chances at home. Chelsea without Lukaku against Norwich. I mean, this is a classic case of David versus Goliath. But this is the EPL.
All right.
Anything can happen. And for Alex Iwobi and Everton, they just have to, after the home loss, they just have to find their way back. Manchester United, Liverpool. Now, this is the game everybody wants talking about. Okay. Everybody wants to talk about. I think both teams, at the end of the day, will get the goal. But I fancy Liverpool to get something out of this game.
Oh, okay. All right. Alfred, I want to thank you for your time on the show tonight. There was not much time, but thanks for your contribution anyway. All right. Ikena, Manchester United, Liverpool, few seconds.
I want to talk about Leicester.
Okay.
That would be a great game.
Okay.
Because of the form, Leicester are on unbeaten run for 2 games, and how they dispatched Spartak Moscow day before yesterday was awesome.
All right.
And Daka scoring 4 goals. So against Brentford, this is a team that plays very well at home. This is a team that's surprising everybody in the EPL.
Right.
So that's the game I'm looking out for.
Okay.
We know what we'll get from Manchester Liverpool, but this one is a game I'm looking out for.
All right. Again, I also want to thank you for your time
Thank you very, very
on
much.
the show today. I don't want to get chased out of the studio, so we got to go. We got to go. All right, that's the show today. We do hope that you've been able to enjoy everything we've been able to do. Time not always your friend when you're having fun. From Lagos, I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.
Let's do this again in London. I'm Austin O'Connor, and in everything you do, just remember, you're talking sports. Bye.